Hey everyone, welcome to the Weekly Movie Minute. I am Joe from Create Context, and today we are talking about the movie Hell of a Summer. Best buds Billy Burke and Finn Wolfhard have teamed up for the camp counselor slashing horror comedy Hell of a Summer. Hell of a Summer treads familiar water in the horror comedy genre. There's a wacky cast of camp counselors, each with a unique trait. We have a goth girl, a goofy, lovable older counselor who hasn't grown up, and there's late teen hormones galore. All this adds up to a decent, if forgettable, movie. This type of movie, the slasher at a summer camp, it's always a little bit fun, right? There's something nostalgic and charming about these films that remind me of the not so great but still beloved slasher films of the 80s. The biggest problem with Hell of a Summer is that it's just another one of those, and not a particularly great one. Fred Heshinger leads the cast and does a fine enough job keeping the movie grounded. He plays Jason, a 24-year-old who loves nothing more than his summers at Camp Pineway, a camp he's been going to for close to a decade. There is a small thread in this film about growing up and growing out of certain things. I wouldn't say that's the main thesis of the film, but it definitely exists in the character of Jason, as he has clearly become too old to still be spending his summers at a camp from his youth. Jason is a bit of a red herring, as he seems to be the most likely candidate for the murderer that soon ends up terrorizing the counselors on their first night at camp. He's clearly the most socially awkward of the bunch, and he's even named Jason, a not-so-subtle nod to the Friday the 13th series. While this red herring hits early, it's pretty clear to both the audience and some of the wiser counselors in the film that Jason is far too meek to be a hatchet-wielding killer. As the story unfolds, we get a few good kills, a decent number of laughs, and some funny musings on Gen Z culture. There's the vegan who won't even talk to someone because of their zodiac sign, and a virtue signaling peanut allergy ridden boy telling everyone to mind their privilege. These broadly pointed jokes are enough to get a laugh, but not enough to make Hell of a Summer feel like an update to the well-tread genre. At its best, Hell of a Summer could be a new summer slasher for the next generation, but it just never hits that level of quality or camp. It's a fine enough movie, technically speaking. Finn and Billy have created a great proof of concept that they are competent directors, and I can see the two working together in the future on some much bigger projects. I saw some people online complaining about the lighting, that some scenes were too dark. This wasn't something I immediately noticed, but I guess some of the scenes could have been a bit brighter. The whole thing is shot at night, so most of it is spent either in outdoor night shots or inside cabins that have no light on, so I guess that could be an issue. The biggest problem with Hell of a Summer is that there really aren't many problems. It's a tight 90-minute slasher flick that moves at a decent pace with enough laughs and kills to be entertaining. It just doesn't do anything unique for the genre. It also isn't great enough at the genre it's doing to make us want to spend any more time with the characters or in this setting. It's a fine movie to see once and then you'll totally forget about it. There aren't any major changes that should be done to the film, and the cast, they're all doing excellent in their roles. It's especially fun to see Fred Heshinger play a lovable, goofy dope after his despicable characters in Gladiator 2 and Nickel Boys. Finn and Billy also star, and they do fine enough as two friends on the precipice of adulthood, but it's kind of similar to all the characters they've been playing for the last 5 years. Hell of a Summer isn't going to break any records or even become a cult classic. It doesn't have enough laughs to keep audiences thinking about the film after the credits, and it isn't gory or camp enough to gain this loyal cult following. It's a fine film from two guys who have a tremendous amount of talent, and they're getting to spread their wings and continue to make new things in the industry. I like everything Hell of a Summer is doing, but I don't love anything it's doing. What I do love is the future of these two actors and directors' careers. They've clearly shown they have the competency at 25 and 22 respectively to handle running a film. This movie actually initially wrapped and was released in 2023 at the Toronto Film Festival, so these two were actually in their late teens and early 20s when they made it. It's astounding. They were able to pull off writing and directing a movie that fits neatly in the horror genre and honestly is better than most would be able to pull off for their debut. These two have a bright future ahead of them, even if their first summer wasn't a home run. If you like Hell of a Summer and you're looking for something similar, I have a few recommendations. First, I check out some flicks from the Friday the 13th series. This is the series that started the summer camp slasher genre in earnest, and most of these films follow the same plot line, so you could really take your pick with any one of them. The first 7 films are all set on or around Camp Crystal Lake, with Jason killing young promiscuous teens in various gruesome ways. Many people love the first film as it is a classic, it has Kevin Bacon, and has a great twist that betters the film. It makes it even more enjoyable to watch on subsequent viewings. But my favorite, those are Part 2, Part 4, and Part 7. Part 2 is the first film where Jason is actually the killer, and it's more or less the same plotline as the first, but with some different characters that I think are a little more interesting than the ones we had in the first. Part 4, which is actually titled The Final Chapter, spoiler alert, it wasn't, is the first movie to introduce Tommy Jarvis, a character that would return for 2 more sequels. Corey Feldman plays Tommy in this film, and he is a delight to watch on screen as he tries to outsmart Jason. Crispin Glover is also in this one, doing exactly what you would want Crispin Glover to do. Part 7 is actually a film that was born out of the idea of a Jason vs. Carrie movie. There were talks of a Freddy vs. Jason movies for years, and while that movie would eventually come to fruition, it was held up for years due to New Line and Paramount both owning one of the characters. So they just made a new character who also had telekinetic powers and had her fight Jason. It's one of the more bonker entries in the series, but it's a ton of fun, and I actually wish they would have done more with the character of Tina Shepard, the telekinetic teen. It's a shame we only got to see her for one movie. Next, I check out Sleepaway Camp. This movie is probably best known for its shocking ending that has not aged too well, but it's still a fun summer camp slasher movie. Like Hell of a Summer, there's always something kind of fun about horror and terror being brought into a summer camp. It's this place you go away to as a kid with your parents where other kids that are barely older than you are supposed to be in charge, and it's easy to imagine that something terrible could go awry, and I just love watching that specific type of chaos ensue. Thank you guys so much for watching the Weekly Movie Minute. If you like this, give us a subscribe. That'd be super cool, and I'll see you guys next week.